So after the extremely long wait, we finally got it. The first PV of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 5 Golden Wind. And so far, it honestly looks fantastic. The animation on display, even if it was brief, has me excitedly awaiting the real anime to come later this year. Though of course, this being a JoJo preview, it was densely packed and loaded with a shit ton of references to the events of Part 5. So let's dig through this PV and identify all this golden glory. So the PV starts with Giorno's ladybug brooch flying off into the distance, showing off his ability to give life to inanimate objects. And then you have the splitting heart motif of the ladybug itself as it parts its wings, showing off Giorno's split heritage, him being both the son of Dio and Jonathan. Also, you have the positioning of the heart right when the PV starts, and how it's shaped much like that of an arrowhead, and given the importance these stand arrows are specifically to Giorno, it fits pretty well. And then you have the ladybug brooch flying off into the distance with a massively long vine following behind it. This vine seems to be a physical embodiment of the connection that the Passion boys share, as it appears alongside everyone in the PV and plays into how Giorno is sort of everyone's guiding light in a sense, especially in Passion. And then from there you have a scene where Giorno touches the ground and causes another spew of vines to bloom forth, both in reference to his fight with Koichi, in which Giorno creates a tree in order to escape to safety, but also with him being the one who lays the foundation that the gang would soon follow, creating the vine that connects everyone together. And then the camera pans into Giorno's eyes and we shift into Mista's revolver cylinder, which he loads up and fires some green vines out of it, which is in reference to Mista and Giorno and how they use their abilities together during the Green Day fight to catch a helicopter by changing Mista's bullets into a tree. Though seconds before the shots are fired, we see little waves appear in front of Mista and specifically his revolver, which looks strikingly similar to the ones that appear in the different JoJo fighting games that help the player identify where they place their last Sex Pistol. And then we also see a shot of the bullets shattering glass, in reference to the first time Mista fires his gun in the part when he fires through a window at a fleeing sail using Sex Pistols.
Fuck this window.
Mista, what the fuck? Stop shooting the fucking window, dipshit!
And then we cut to Narancia, chasing after his little bomber, showing us how he'll be using it as more than just a stand to fight with, and how it will be mostly used as a radar for the gang to lead them down a safe path. Though with Narancia spinning around and firing the same way he does in the Little Feet fight against Formaggio, we are also shown that it has the ability to fight back, and it isn't just a defenseless stand. And then as it flies off, it leaves behind the same set of vines we've seen with everyone else so far in the PV, though these vines that represent everyone's bonds and friendships are soon dissolved by Fugo's purple haze, showing off how viciously dangerous his stand's power is, while also possibly hinting at the fact that we might see some Golden Heart, Golden Ring action in the anime. And by that I mean we might actually get to see Fugo's betrayal arc acted out in full in the anime, as it's the only part of JoJo that Araki regrets changing. But most certainly this was done to show that Fugo is the only one in the gang who won't be sticking around for the entirety of the part, as he dissolves away the physical manifestation of his connection to all of his friends. Also a neat little detail about this, playing into my point about Fugo and Narancia from my Fugo video, in this PV the only stands we actually physically see are Aerosmith and Purple Haze, showing how these two play off each other and are connected in a way. And then you have Abakio coldly walking through all of the things that we just saw being rewound in the background, showing us the power of his moody blues, while also showing his disconnection from the crew but in a non-destructive way like Fugo. Also a neat little detail, Narancia, Fugo, Mista, and Giorno are the people being rewound in the background, which are the exact same people Abakio rewinds in the first time he ever uses Moody Blues in the Soft Machine fight. And then the camera pans up to a droplet of sweat that then turns into one of Sticky Finger's zippers, which plays into Bruno's introduction, and then they become more zippers, and then more, and oh god, this is the coolest fucking moment in the whole PV, and it demonstrates how in charge Bruno is of his crew, as in his reveal he reaches towards the camera like he reached out to each individual member of the crew, but still with an imposing hand over the camera, showing how he dominates the screen much like he dominates over his gang. But then a zipper comes down and transitions us into the ladybug again, with the vine following close behind, and it lands on Giorno, returning to its original form as a brooch on his outfit, doubling down the meaning that Giorno will be the guiding light for Passion, as Giorno is the only man that Bruno looks up to the same way his gang looks up to him. And then of course the PV ends with an original group shot, with with Bruno sitting as the leader in his chair, specifically the same chair he takes the requests in the Rolling Stones arc, and the one that Giorno ends up sitting in at the end of part 5. And then lastly, the flash of the new JoJo logo, which looks fucking solid as hell. It definitely feels like David Productions and Araki were trying to model it after sort of like a fashion logo, and it fucking fits so perfectly. And I have to admit, after this long wait, I think it's like 438 days, this PV is almost worth it alone. And that's a big claim, but I just love the solid animation and the idea or the theme of having the crew sort of demonstrate their abilities like the first time they used it was both subtle and extremely neat for people who have been following Part 5 for a long time. It was a nice little Easter egg to lay throughout the 40 seconds of animation, and I fucking love it, and I can't wait to see what they do with like the opening, if this is the level of quality we're gonna get for the PV. I don't think I missed anything, as it is relatively short. But if you saw something that I didn't, feel free to hit me up on Twitter or something. And if you enjoyed this video and would like to see more videos like it in the future, I have a Patreon at patreon.com/ManyNotTheBadGuy. And if you want to become a gang star at any point in your life, well, first you have to buy a copy of Shimonetta at Funimation.com/show/Shimonetta, a boring world where the concept of dirty jokes doesn't exist. It'll help you get where you're going, and it's like...